Yeah, so on to our next question in terms of inspiration for content, essentially. I speak to a lot of recruiters and often they'll say, look, I don't know how I can actually add value or what type of content I can actually produce. And also, it takes so much time. Like I've already got a million things to do and spinning a number of different plates at the same time. How can I do content as well? Do you have any tips on, I guess, inspiration for content and also sort of different types of content you can produce, fairly quickly?
Well, yeah, I mean, the long route to great content is starting with your own research into the industry. Find some data or find a statistic from a new report released by a Gartner or a consultancy like McKinsey, for example, and develop a blog post, in response to that new finding or that new statistic. Often that can take time though. So I would urge recruiters to just really leverage what they know. You're a bunch of specialists, and presumably plenty of you have lots of experience in the market. So if there's something that you've learned or that you've experienced along the way, write about it, share your learnings. And I find that blog posts with a pronoun in them, 5 things I've learned about, or what I've learned since working at get a lot of engagement, more so than the kind of more removed, less personal posts. And to your point about time, it does take time. Good content does take time, even for somebody like me. But if you've got a team of 12 and each person in your team commits to 1 post a month, for example, you've got a full year's worth of content, and you can break up those blog posts, for example, into infographics or social posts, and really make the content work harder for you.
And I know you mentioned Google Forms and SurveyMonkey, etc. before, when we're talking about, identifying your customer persona or candidate and client persona. But I know, and I've seen a lot of people have actually used those to turn that into really great content as well. Is that something you've done before?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you can develop even with a database of 100 or 50 responses. You can collate some really interesting insights, and then work out the percentages and split your kind of content with those percentages that you've found. And then you can be confident in saying, this is what the market is saying right now. This is where we're at right now. And then it's a real piece of thought leadership. It's something that's really niche and specific to your brand and your customer. So chances are somebody in your field, in your industry, is going to be interested in what you found from your target customers. Yeah,
no, absolutely, 100% agree. I know just from my background, and particularly when I actually worked at Hayes, we produced a couple of bits that was about, it was about the DNA of a HRD. And this piece was so popular with everybody, sort of underneath that role. So, HR admins, advisors, HR BPs, etc., HR managers, everyone wanted to know what is the DNA of a HRD, because ultimately that's what their career goal was. So, I think people want to hear about people who are similar to them, or even more so, people that they want to be like. So no, that was a great point.
Yeah.
In terms of a final sort of bit just to cover, I guess one thing that probably everyone's experienced who's sort of dabbled in, social or sort of, producing content is, you do something, you produce a video or you produce a blog, and you put a bit of effort into it and thought behind it. You pop it up online, and then it's just flat as anything. You're not getting likes, you're not getting much engagement, and it's pretty embarrassing, really. That's probably the fear, I guess, that everybody has, and why probably people do less. What would you say to those people?
I would say just go for it anyway. Suck it up. and get it out there, because any engagement is good engagement. And likes are a vanity metric anyway. You know, it doesn't really mean anything. It's much harder to especially these days with changes in the algorithms, it's really hard to grow an engaged and kind of topical audience who are interested and are willing to engage with you and take action based on your posts. So it's a long game.
Yeah.
I would just say be consistent, be targeted, you know, pick 1 or 2 channels and really devote a lot of time into them. It's the algorithms favor profiles that are, you know, commenting as well on other people's posts in the industry, you know, taking actions, online actions, in their pool and with other related profiles like theirs. So you've got to just be in it to win it. And the best conversions from social are a good mix of kind of lead acquisition activity and brand awareness activity. So you've got to have a good balance of those posts that are really driving customers to your landing page or your contact us page or book a demo page. And then just the feel good kind of, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is some of our team, kind of organic brand awareness pieces. And then literally the platforms favor serving that content when there's a good balance of those two goals.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I guess I can't remember who it was, but I saw something on LinkedIn recently, and it was you know, very much talking about the fact that when you're putting out marketing, you get likes, you get engagement, but there's a lot more people seeing it that aren't actually you know, clicking and getting involved. I can't remember what they called it. It's like, you know, it's like silent engagement or something like that. But that these people are still consuming your content. So for every, you know, like, etc., you're getting, you know, there is a lot more people seeing that than you actually think, and that is, you know, having an impact on, you know, their impression of you, essentially.
Absolutely, yeah. And we all know that you know, customers today need 8 to 10 or even 8 to 12 touch points with your brand before they actually convert to making a purchase. So whether that's a social post, an email, you know, in traditional terms, you know, seeing your advert on TV or on a billboard, you know, you need to drum up 8 to 12 of those touch points before a customer would even consider converting. So the same goes for recruitment marketers. It's just about getting your name up there, being visible in the newsfeed, and you're only going to do that with consistency and just repeated trials and tests, and mixing up your content too. So, you know, whether it's link posts, image posts, video content, live content, you're going to want to be taking into account all of those different formats for your efforts.
Yeah, awesome. No, I 100% agree. I think that, you know, you think about how you buy anything else in, you know, your personal life as well, like whether you're buying new trainers or something or other like that. You know, you might have seen these adverts 3, 4, 5 times, but it doesn't mean that you actually interacted with it at all.
Or taken action yet.
You know, yeah, but it's like, it's that 5th sponsored ad on Instagram, or, you know, finally when you've actually come round, you know, you've got a bit more money or something, and you thought, yeah, I'm going to actually treat myself to something.
Exactly.
That you actually then decide to make, you know, the move to actually action. Yeah,
it's a long game.
Yeah, perfect. All right, well, thanks so much for that, Sara. We really appreciate having you on and your insights. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. But yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Jules.